everybody. Welcome to HBCU Original. Listen, this is Vince, one of your co-hosts, and this is the Spotlight Hour. Hey, also, before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor for
today's show is sponsored by Swift Pro for all your marketing needs. Want to be a sponsor? It's simple. Just email us for more info. Now back to the show.
JL, take it away.
All right. Good day, everybody, everywhere. How you doing? It's your boy, JLWilliams, here with my co-host, my main man, VBungy, and we have a special guest on deck today, man. Listen, I'm excited. You guys are going to hear some absolutely incredible information. He is a globally recognized gamer. He's doing some amazing things, in Europe, here in the United States, and all over the world. So, we want to bring you the very best in this industry. And so we have none other than Yahaya Maikori. Yahaya Maikori. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very well, guys.
All right.
Pleased to be here.
Yes, sir. Hey, we're glad to have you too, man.
Before we get started, let everybody know who you are and what you do, as far as global, like John just talked about, from Africa, Europe, and North America.
Okay, so cool. My name is Yahaya Maikori. Like you earlier said, I'm a lawyer by training. I'm qualified both in Nigeria and in the United Kingdom. That means I can practice my law there. But in the course of my professional journey, I've been involved in so many things, right? First as a corporate lawyer, which I still practice, but over the course of my career, I've been involved in gaming deeply, gambling to be precise. And in this part of the world, it's called iGaming. So iGaming started more earlier in Europe, caught on to Africa, and of course, 2-3 years ago, they passed the law in the United States, North America, that allows gambling to go online. So obviously, you can see lots of activity in that area in America, particularly. But in the course of my legal work, I've been involved in regulation, software with regards to gambling, advising companies, mergers and acquisition, strategic alliances between Europe, Africa, and of course some companies in the US as well. I'm also the president of the Nigerian Esports Federation. I'm sure esports is a big thing in the US as well. I became the president like a year and a half ago. I'm also involved in sports. Sports is a big thing. We just launched the first sports industrial manufacturing zone 2 days ago. Here we just signed the agreement, and we're hoping to break ground in the next 4 to 6 months maximum. But promises to become a hub for manufacturing, merchandising, training, and all things sports. So yeah, that's a bit of my journey. I've been involved in media as well. I was involved in music. There's a record label called Chocolate City. If you Google, you've heard of Chocolate City. It's one of the biggest record labels in Africa here. It was bought by Universal. Universal has a stake in Chocolate City music. I'm also involved in film. I'm doing a documentary about my culture. It's about a 2,000-year-old culture that pre-existed the birth of Christ, with so much art. Artifacts were designed from clay. Of course, not much can be said about what has happened in the last 2,000 years, but so much work was done covering a whole large-scale industrial. There was just large industrial scale of people making artwork. Part of what they're trying to figure out is what the artwork was meant for. Was it just for burial, right, or was it meant for commerce? So there's a whole lot happening in that space, and we hope to launch that. We just got a grant from the United States Embassy in Nigeria to help with the preservation of the art, that whole culture. So my life has been into. There's a whole lot going on there, but
it's a lot to unpack here. We got a tremendous. I said, oh man, that's a lot to unpack. what I want to say, and to our audience who are watching right now, Maikori, he's located in Africa right now as we speak. So this is live from Africa, and he's developing, like you said, the program Gaming Institute there now as we speak. He's breaking ground. So we want you to know that it's, like I said, it's global. He's coming to a place near you in the United States as well as Europe. We have people from all over the world who actually watch our content. So let's just dive into I think the elephant in the room, the gaming industry, and how big that is. I think we had a meeting, me and John. We talk about this all the time about e-gaming and things of that nature. How much money has it stand to generate? Can you explain to the
Okay,
audience?
so we know we have to understand the role of technology in the whole idea of gaming, sports, and all of that, and how that is facilitating convergence. So 2-3 years ago, before COVID, they treated esports separately from iGaming. But when COVID happened and people could not play live games, people had to fall back on esports to create the necessary content for them to bet on. So there's an ongoing convergence. Where it's going to stop, nobody really knows. But again, it depends on which side of the divide you're in. For the younger crowd, for those who are in college, people would like to separate esports from iGaming, right? But for the mature crowd and for those who are into the idea of gaming, gamification, and all of those things that come from the art of either taking a game of chance or gambling, there's no way iGaming exists without looking at the future of esports. So iGaming basically is simply online gambling, games of chance, games of skill. Again, it depends on which jurisdiction you're in. In certain jurisdictions, they claim that iGaming is just simply a game of chance. In certain jurisdictions, they'll say it's part of, it's also games of skill. So chess is a game of skill, esports, and there's several other games which are part of, which are games of skill. Recently, the the International Olympic Committee added chess as part of esports. So you can see that, yes. So you can see that the scope is widening, right? We just never know exactly just where it stops. But what's really most important is that is what's going to drive commercial activities across globes, across countries, and especially for technologically savvy people. In short, one of the projections is that gaming, and I'll put this gaming here holistically in terms of gambling and esports, gaming is going to become the second highest employer of labor globally.
Whoa,
Again,
Ooh.
simply
wow,
because of the skills. So technology is taking over skills, right? Virtual reality, AI, they're taking over so many human normal skills that human beings would have performed.
right.
And what it simply means that most of us will have to take to playing games to survive,
Wow.
right? Yes, and you're going to be able to play a game. I mean, just like we're watching now, you can actually play a game with a huge price stake. So maybe we're going to have to rely on gaming to make a living,
Wow.
because technology would have usurped most of the labor opportunities that are out there. This
You know
projection came
what?
in 10 years ago. 10 years ago, and I didn't really understand it because I looked at this purely from the point of gambling, right? But now with the explosion of esports, and if you look at the whole ecosystem, then it starts to start making sense in terms of what is going to happen with employment for the younger people coming out of college.
Yes. I see, I see that too. And I think we had a show some time ago, and I was talking about this young guy who was trying to go to a college here in the States. I won't name the college, but he was trying to go to a college, and he was like one of the top guys. He was a top engineer, and he came coming out of high school, and he was actually documented one of the the top guys, and he denied going to this college because they did not have a gaming uh platform, or like they weren't teaching that kind of thing at
Okay.
that college, because he
Wow.
understood, like yourself, that
Yeah.
this is something that is futuristic. Can you speak to that in a sense of like looking at gaming as a profession, as an industry, as what young people maybe should consider making their major or investing in some way?
Okay, yeah. So I understand where you're coming from, and this has to be approached from two angles. First of all, esports is used as a tool for teaching of STEM. STEM
Mhm.
means science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right?
Mhm.
So the elements in esports are actually used as very, very, very viable tools to teach kids skills in terms of coordination, in terms of problem management, right? In terms of team playing, how to play as a
Mm.
team.
Mhm.
You understand? So there are many other soft skills that are really simply all entrenched in esports. And if you look at, and I think some of the experiences I have, for example, we went to a facility in Atlanta owned by Todd Harris. And in every week, they were teaching about 20 something hours of esports to students from Georgia Tech and some of the key universities in Atlanta there, right? So even for executives in work, gaming simply just teaches you so many skill sets in a live situation:
Mhm.
how to lose, how to win, how to take decisions in a complex situation. There's so many life skills that are taught in that esports teaches you.
Mhm.
And I think if you look at some of the schools, especially in Europe, in
Mhm.
terms of high school, esports is actually used to teach kids those basic skill sets that helps them. Yeah, that helps them. So I see that happening in the future. That almost everybody who's going to get involved in any kind of in education that's at a high level in colleges, they will need to take esports and some of the skill sets from there as tools for training
Mhm.
for empowering them going forward. And I think it should be an elective. Part of what we're trying to do in some of the countries here is to work with the educational department so
Mhm.
that esports can be made part of an elective. So, like what happens in
Mhm.
colleges, you go, you have your main course, but then there are certain courses you take from different areas to upskill yourself.
And,
So
that's
yeah,
interesting, Maikori. I always wanted to touch base with you said because just recently we were at the Pro Bowl, the NFL Pro Bowl, and
yeah,
they had
Mhm.
e, gaming competition. The HBCU championship of esports was held at the Pro Bowl, NFL Pro Bowl. And
yeah.
so I got a
Mhm.
chance to talk to some of the students, the young men and the young women who listen, were making thousands of dollars,
Oh yeah,
thousands,
Mhm.
and they
oh
went to
Yeah.
yeah,
college, education, and these guys were, like you said, the best in the country, the best in the United States, and they
Mhm.
played all over.
oh
So
yeah,
it's a true testament to what you're saying. It's
Mhm.
listen,
Yeah.
if you are young and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
watching the show,
There's a clear career path even in the sport itself, right?
Mhm.
So of course,
yeah,
coding starts from there, design,
Yeah.
graphics, podcasting,
Mhm.
competitive
Mhm.
play, streaming,
hmm
and the list
Mhm.
goes on and on and on. I mean, if you go to
On and on.
Eastern, yeah, yeah, so there's a whole lot happening there.
Mhm.
In North America and even Africa, and to a certain extent, Europe, we're still just starting. But when you go to Asia, places like South Korea, these are stadium
oh,
field events. Like
oh,
in
Mhm.
South Korea, these are stadium field events. 40,000, 50,000 people to come and see people
how
play
much
video
money did this
games.
thing generate, Macari? How much
It
money did this
generate.
thing?
Let me say this, because
That's what I want
I
to
look like.
know.
Hey Vince, let me say this real quick. I brother Maikori, I just partnered with Wow Science, this company called Wow Science. Shout out to Wow
Okay.
Science. Uh, and Miss Fola and her company, but they do coding. I just started doing coding with these kids, and
Yeah.
these are
Yeah. Yeah.
kids here, and they are having such an awesome time
Oh
learning
yeah. Oh yeah.
the whole coding piece, and they love
Oh
when they
yeah.
can really get when it really connects and gets together, and they
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
and Vince, I never, hey Vince, I'm telling you, I've never seen a kid light up like this when I see them connect and they finally
Yeah.
get, because it's a weird kind of thing of how it
So
sort of
you're
come
making a
together.
point. So you're making a point where I need to highlight as well is that because for some certain people, science is just so hard for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is the easiest way to teach them science.
Yes,
So
gaming.
that was
Yes,
it. So that was yeah. So that's the easiest way for them to
I was
grasp.
gonna,
Very
I was
that's what
gonna,
practical way for them.
And Vince, that's what I
I was,
see. It's
I
the
was gonna
easiest
piggyback
way
what
to teach.
you said though. See, like Mahari and JL, I've been building websites for 30 years.
Yeah.
So
Yes, you have.
I was doing coding in the
Hmm.
90s when they
90.
didn't
Wow.
even know what it was called. So I was developing
Mm.
websites, platforms, and things like this. Everything you see, so I've developed myself. So I've been doing it for years. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and back then, it wasn't really streamlined to just coding, but I kind of had a head start. Didn't see it coming to this point now, but we
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm.
here, and this
Oh
is
yeah.
35 years ago. The same thing, but it's a
Yeah.
little bit more
Yeah.
aggressive now.
Yeah.
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 Hey Vince, I'm
Yeah.
ready to go out. I'm ready to go out. I
Okay.
just wanted to let you know.
No problem. So, but we definitely love it. Listen, and then more or less, how is the impact between like Africa and the United States? How does that work? How does the coalition work?
Okay, so coalition, there's some things I don't want to unveil now because I'll be like letting the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
But there's some plans we have, and we started executing them, having meetings with key government officials in Georgia.
Mm, mm,
That's it's gonna unfold, right? So it's not just the private sector, actually even government are involved in it, with specific reference to gaming. But I don't want to let out what the plans is, right?
That,
But that will unfold with time, and it's going to be something very big. It's going to be something very big. Yeah.
mm. Beautiful.
I mentioned a question as far as I know everything is transitioning with the new president we have in office. Um, will this affect the way you do business as far as the global sector? Being that you're in three different continents at one time with Trump and some of his initiatives. He hasn't spoke about science or things instead, but
Eh,
just curious.
Yeah. Okay. So, but first, okay. So I'm the US because with the O1 visa, right? Um, so an O1 visa is an expertise visa. So that gives me access for the next few years in and out of the US. I doubt, I mean, there's anything that would hamper whatever I'm doing. That's one. Secondly, there's lots of work that happens online, you know,
Hmm.
as
That's
opposed to, yeah. So
that's a
lots of
good
work
thing.
happens in that space. Until when it comes really critical, that's when my physical presence is required. But so far, for the past 2 years, there hasn't been any problem. And honestly, I think the policy of what the new president is saying is against illegal immigration. I don't think he has anything against people who really have something to offer, right?
Okay.
So it's for those who are illegally trying to immigrate into the US. But I think if you have some value, and the America is built on its diversity, but people who have brought in distinct skill sets to help make it the great country it is. So on my own
Yeah.
part, I don't see any personal why it should be a deterrence on my own part. But so far, so
Mhm.
good. Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
And you
Well,
know what? I wanted to say before I don't know when this is gonna go off, but man, I am I'm so thoroughly impressed with what you have been able to do and what you're doing now. And not only that, but creating opportunities for us as African Americans and then people in general, wherever they are. And I want to thank you, man, for all that you've done and all the stuff that you've yet to do. It's going to, and I know you're going to impact so many lives. And that's what
Thank
we're
you.
about here. HBCU Original. We want to impact, empower, and transform the lives of people in general. But thank you, man. I really appreciate what you're doing here. I really do.
I appreciate you guys having me here. Thank you very
And so let
much.
me ask you some other things before we off topic now. As far as this is just one part of the gaming because you're in a gaming initiative. It's just esport is one part, and the other part you said as far
Okay,
as initiative.
yeah, okay, so like I said, so from the gambling side of things, again, if you look at it, it's the same ecosystem, right? It's still software, it's still coding, it's still streaming, it's still broadband. The skill sets are the same. Now with gambling, there are restrictions. When I say gambling, because of public perception of gambling, right? So the people in the esports, people in colleges teaching esports, do not want to see any kind of alignment between esports and gambling, but they sit
Mm,
within the same framework. Like it's like having a stadium, having a stadium. Sometimes you use the stadium for soccer, sometimes you use the stadium for baseball. That's essentially what it is. The ecosystem simply is the same. So for commercial purposes, of course, I mean, even the esports is commercial, but the underlying benefit of esports is really because of the ease with which people are able to impact on learning for the younger kids. It gives them a new set of skills entirely at a tender age, which allows them to utilize when they get older. But essentially, there's no difference, right?
mm.
So in terms of my career, I've worked most of my life in the gambling sector, but right now I'm the president of the Esports Federation. So I, I see my two legs are spread on both, but they're one
Yeah,
and the same thing essentially.
that's a lot. Now, do you have a program? Do you have an actual office in Atlanta as well?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. I have an office in. I just came in for this function that happened 2 days ago, but yeah, I have an office in Atlanta. Yeah.
And do you plan on to do like shows? Are there like shows coming up or contests, esport contests coming up?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah. Wait. They said that what I was talking about. We have something planned big for the World Cup coming up. So the soccer World Cup is coming up next year, and
yes,
Atlanta
sir.
is one of the cities. Yeah,
2026.
yeah, yes. So we have some
And
plans with some of.
we would like
So
because I
so
want to tell you we'll be there actually in Philadelphia when they have they're having eight soccer matches so in Philadelphia or
yeah,
six of them.
yeah, yeah.
So
So our plans is to have an event around the soccer tournament coming up next year, the World Cup.
and will that just
Uh,
be certain games you'll play or you're going to do all games or is it like an open
no.
contest?
So we are still in the planning stage, but essentially it's going to be the FIFA. That's the soccer. So that should be the leading game. Whether we're going to add other games again depends. It all depends. Whether we're going to add Counter Strike or Dota or the other games that are popular. But the soccer, the e-soccer, is going to be something we're going to. That's priority. So like it aligns with the World Cup soccer tournament taking place in Atlanta, and we've had interest from other cities as well. But the ones that are
Yeah,
almost cast in stone in terms of the planning is the one in Atlanta.
Atlanta. You definitely and I think it's Philadelphia, Atlanta, Chicago. Is it LA?
LA, I think
Uh,
Philadelphia, Philly,
in Miami. Yeah,
Philly, yeah,
Philadelphia has.
Philly, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I think Philly, yeah.
And now, will these kids have a chance to make money, or how is it going to work? Or is
Okay,
it
so they're price
competition?
pools. So they're price
Price.
pools. Yeah. So that's essentially how you make money. In terms of streaming, again, it depends on what the arrangement is. But obviously, sponsorships. We are discussing sponsorships with some players. Um, Money should come in from streaming as well. And they earn a bit of stipends, but essentially it's the prize money, right? So the details of how that's going to be structured are some of the things we are working on, and I'm hoping the next 2 3 months we'll have a definite plan on how that will work out. But definitely the opportunities for career, for scholarship, for earning money, building brands. Some might not translate to money right away, but then again, just learning, meeting other people from the same ecosystem opens you up. And of course, we intend to bring people from Africa. We intend to bring players from Africa as well to Atlanta for that.
Yeah, we should. I mean, let's. I like to see students coming from all over the place, and not just students, adults,
Yeah,
young students, young men, women, that can help globalize this thing, create jobs, like you said, for themselves, scholarships for themselves,
yeah,
and also a chance to
yeah,
brand ideas. If you have ideas,
yes.
if you're watching out there and you are an e-gamer, but you also have a little bit of other interest into moving the sport forward, this is the golden
Mm.
opportunity for you. And you can reach Maikori. Maikori, how can they reach you anyway? How can they reach you in your program?
So on my LinkedIn is Yahaya Maikori. My Gmail, I mean my social media, see Yahaya Maikori as well. I can still give you my. Am I allowed to give numbers? Am I allowed to give my
Yes,
number?
yes, yes, of course.
Okay. So my number is my US number is 678-9082-762.
Definitely. If you're
Six
watching,
seven.
and we'll also put that inside the comments as well.
Okay,
People are
yeah.
watching.
Yeah, so 678-908-2762. That's my
And your
number.
website, what is your website again? So people, I know you have a global site as well.
We don't have anyone for this particular one, right? For the event coming up, well, that's not set up yet. You understand? But just reach me on the
Okay.
number and then we'll keep you updated. Yeah. Like I said, there's lots of work going on in terms of the event coming up next year. So we're not there when we put it on the website or whatever. But yeah, just reach me on that number and I can get it going. And if you Google my name, you're going to see so many other ways of contacting me anyway. But once we're definite on the games, the timelines, and all the other preparations and which teams are participating. And like I said, some of the government agencies in Georgia, they are also involved, right? We can't put anything out there officially until we're done with that, so yeah.
And and how many teams from America, and how many teams from Europe, and how many teams from Africa will you
Yeah,
have?
there's at this point, we're still wondering how many teams is it going to be just Africa and America, or is it going to bring in Europe? There's all sorts of discussions about. See, it's an international event. Everybody's going to be there anyways, so opening up to everybody. That's in terms of the e-soccer. So there's so many discussions going on in terms of the how it's going to totally play out, right? So we need to give some time for that to come out. But once we have that, it's going to be all on the website, and possibly
I got one interesting question too.
we can use your website. I mean, because we can also use your
Oh yeah, you
website
can
again
use
to push it out.
definitely.
Yeah.
I have one more interesting question as well. Now the colleges who may be interested, how can they get partnership to create ways for them to make revenue for the colleges? A lot of colleges are losing funding federally right now as we speak,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they need to find other ways to create revenue,
Oh,
quick,
oh yeah. Yeah.
to get involved. Is this something that might be viable for them?
Again, you see, it's still the industry is still in a formative age stage.
Mm,
Sorry. Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? So obviously at some point you're gonna have to pay your school fees one way or the other. Uh, I think just getting in at the onset helps you understand how it's gonna play out. It helps understand what kind of assets, or benefits are available. In terms of them getting in, I think almost all the schools I've been to in Atlanta are restricted to Atlanta because I live there. You know,
like Clark,
Georgia,
Atlanta.
Georgia State already has a facility for esports.
Wow.
Uh, oh yeah, Georgia State already has, and there are many courses like game development, all of that. They're all over most of the colleges in Atlanta in Georgia. You understand?
I remember when I
So,
when I did gaming back in the day, we started off with Bryce. You ever heard of Bryce? Bryce was an
and
introduction course for like 3D modeling in terms of
okay,
and then I took some courses at Full Sail University
mm,
as well and development. So like to say it's no different than building this platform like what you see here now, the structure I developed, pretty much everything. So
mm,
it's similar to the same way. Gaming works the same way. If you know how to
yeah,
build layers, you know how to build this, you know how to do that, you can create, identities. So, it's helped me. Now, I didn't call it
I get,
gaming at the time. It was called game. It
yeah,
wasn't called gaming.
yeah,
It was called
yeah. It
3D
was.
development.
I get. Some call it gaming, some call it video games. It's still the same thing. Again,
Yeah,
there's so many. Even Google, if you go to Google, have free courses. There's so many free courses on these.
yeah, man.
You understand? So we all don't have to spend huge monies to get into the industry. What's most important is that you have to just start putting your feet. I mean, more
There you
like
go.
yeah, trying to wet your feet and feel how it goes. But the in terms of monetization, that's what I'm saying. The East Asia has been far ahead of other countries in monetizing it on a larger scale. Um, in North America and Africa, it's still more from an academic point of view, right?
Yes.
It's still more clear. That's still where it is. And I think we're going to see how those models are going to eventually play out. Even if you look at some of there's so many, is it crypto? There's this other thing that was the
Yeah,
big thing.
crypto, all that.
Blockchain. Let's look at blockchain. Blockchain, it was the big thing. But again, people still have not been able to show any kind of successful commercial models from blockchain. Obviously, esports not in that same is a different thing entirely. But like I said, for it to have the kind of commercial benefits other sports has had in the United States, it's going to take some time, right? Um, but like you said, you have seen the development from it just being a 3D thing. Now they're calling it video games, and we're going to see how that play out over time.
Oh man, this is a beautiful thing. We can't wait to we're going to have you on again as well. This has been a beautiful introduction. If you're a young person in college or even high school or even after high school alumni, listen, and you're interested in gaming, esports, or anything of that nature, as far as the business side, development side, branding side, and like you said, even the entrepreneur side, there's opportunity for you. You don't need education, like you said. You can learn these classes for free. Well, you do need education, but you don't have to pay for education. There are some free
Yeah.
courses that get you into the business. Look, Mr. Mahari up. Listen, he's all over the place. He does global gaming is his thing. He can help you and get you situated.
Yeah, and a good ally for them is Twitch. I mean, there are lots of streaming
Which, yeah, I
streaming
heard
on
it.
Twitch. Yeah, that's yeah. So just first just get to know the industry, follow the trends. Those are ways to get to know. I mean, the course itself is not enough. You must follow the trends, see what's going on in the industry, and see how it plays out in different jurisdictions, and that's how you get on top of it.
Oh man, this is interesting, and we're going to have you on back on before a couple more times before FIFA arrives up.
Oh
We'll
yeah.
definitely try to bring you on next month to keep this thing alive and keep this thing rolling. We have
Once
more content.
once we have everything in place, once I have everything put in place, then I'll be able to come up with details now, and I can be able to get the kids onboarded on how to participate in what we are planning. It's going to be big, and there are continental benefits, yeah, for both Africans and people in the U.S., United States of America.
Oh man, listen, this has been a pleasure to have you on. The show today. Um, if
Thank
you're
you very much.
watching, this is Yahaya Maikori. Yeah, like I said, he's a global gaming entrepreneur and one of the leaders in continent e-gaming. So stay tuned. Listen, if you also we're gonna welcome him back again. You'll see him sometime later on within the next month or so. Those who are watching, if you would like to donate today for today's show, um, and so listen, we like to thank you, appreciate you for your time. You're busy, busy. I know you're busy over in Africa getting things done. We just wanted to bring you on, just an introduction to our audience, and we'll have you back on again, of course. Lots of time before the FIFA games approach. You got anything else you want to give the audience?
Yeah, well, just thanks, Vince. Thanks for having me over. Like I said, I'm excited, and whatever I can do my own part, me, my team, and other colleagues to educate, empower. We're always ready to do that. We're always ready to come and speak. Those, even if it means training, those are all stuff that are open to, subject, of course, to alignment of timing and other stuff. But we're ready to assist. And like I said, they should just watch out for this space. Once our plan is formalized, we will come back with all the information that's necessary for kids who are interested in this space to align.
Well, thank you. We thank you for your time and thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
Listen,
Vince.
everybody that's watching, listen. as we always tell you, dream big, think and plan. This is HBC Original. Listen, we're out. Peace.
Thanks, man.